everybody, welcome to my weekly recommendations. This week we're going to talk about vegetables. So now is the prime time to plant vegetables. A lot of people try to get their veggies in the ground early, and it is really not beneficial unless your soil temperature is above 50 degrees. And the reason being for that is the plant's really not going to do much just sitting there. And then especially with our past few weeks of weather, been cold, wet, rainy. Now the weather has finally broke, so now is the prime time to plant. You're going to get your optimal success planting now with that soil temperature being above 50 degrees. So I wanted to go through some of our tomato varieties with you guys and some of my favorites. So first off, we're going to talk about the cherry varieties. I pulled 4 out of our selection. We have, I think, over 30 different varieties of tomatoes this year in 4-inch gallons, and we have some big pots too. But first off is this large red cherry. It is going to get a fairly large plant along with a large cherry type. So if you are wanting to take just a regular bite out of a cherry tomato, more on the smaller side, this one is not for you. This one you're going to have to cut in half in your salad in order to eat it. Juliet is an actual form of grape tomato, so more on the sweeter side of things. Also a very large plant. These guys are ones that you're going to have to stake or cage. Another one, this is a sweet 100. So these guys are pretty neat. They'll actually form clumps, like larger clumps that you can actually pick the stem off and carry the whole stem into the house instead of picking each individual fruit off of the stem. And then my favorite out of all of them is the sun sugar. It is a more of an orangish yellow tomato, but it is very, very sweet. Hope and Ruth love them. And another one, they do get big, so make sure you have the proper space. I would say in between 2 to 3 feet of space per plant. And if you don't have that kind of space, make it, because you will regret not having that optimal space to pick everything, and the plant will end up falling over in itself, and it just gets messy. It gets very hard to actually get around the plant and get through your rows in your garden. On to our Romas. We have a regular Roma tomato and a San Marzano. The San Marzano is more in the heirloom family. Better flavor, thinner skin, and great for making sauce. This is my favorite on the Roma side. We also have another one called Opalka, which is another very good sauce tomato. Heirlooms. First off is Brandywine Red, Ponderosa Pink. Mr. Stripey is actually like a yellow, orangish yellow, and then an Oxheart. So with the heirloom varieties, to be considered an heirloom, the seed has to be over 50 years old. These guys are not hybrids. They do not get tough skin, along with like some of the hybrids nowadays, that they're bred for shipping and holding up longer on the shelf, versus these heirlooms, very thin skin. So when you do go to pick them, they may be cracked. That is okay. You can pick them a little bit earlier so they're not completely ripe when you pick them, to kind of prevent that cracking, but picking a cracked tomato is fine. These guys, the taste are amazing. One little thing that I do with the fresh heirlooms, slice them down, throw them in a pan with some olive oil, put some fresh herbs in there, a little bit of garlic and balsamic glaze, and just simmer it down a little bit and put it over fresh pasta. It only takes about 10-15 minutes to accomplish all that, and it is amazing. And then last up is our regular normal, the old go-tos, like the Burpee Big Boys. And this one, I just wanted to point out, this one actually says we had our own custom tags made. This is a Bedner's Best. So this is what we grow out in the field. This is a Primo. It's a larger tomato and very, very flavorful. So if you want to try something different, make sure to pick one of these guys up. And then for containers, look for your bush varieties or patio varieties. It'll actually say patio or bush on the plant. So if you have a smaller space, either in the garden or actually in the pots, that is the go-to. Those tomatoes will get you a little smaller than a baseball. They're not going to get super huge. Now, in fixing your garden, if you're going into a new garden, I recommend using the tomato tone, no matter if it's a new garden or if you already have stuff planted. Using this in a new garden, you actually mix it in with your existing soil prior to planting. If you already have stuff planted, you can just do a top dressing along the side of your plants. This will actually help you prevent the blossom end rot. And another thing that actually contributes to blossom end rot, if you guys don't know, is the water consistency. So you don't want to let your tomatoes dry out. You want to have a very consistent watering, and that's also going to prevent cracking, early cracking in your tomato as well. And then also, don't forget, we have a ton of fresh herbs. My go-tos whenever I'm cooking is the basil, flat parsley is very good, rosemary, and oregano and thyme. I love using the fresh herbs, cooking steaks or any type of meat on the grill. Get a little bit of olive oil, chop up the fresh herbs, and just coat the meat, let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then grill it. Turns out amazing. So we are running specials on some veggies. So our 4-inch veggies are 3 for $10. Our gallons are 3 for $20. So stop out. Now is the optimal time to be planting. See you next week.